Welcome to episode 59 of the J Bunny's Music Hub podcast. I'm your host, J Bunny. Well, everybody, this is yet another show out in the wild at a concert this time, which is my first in over a year with all this COVID bullshit. For this show, I interviewed the members of the band Acoustic Vendetta, which you may know their guitarist Marc Rizzo from Il Nino, Soulfly, Cavalera Conspiracy, their drummer Anthony DeVizio is the current drummer for 40 Below Summer. And it was just so crazy to see these guys play in like the corner of a tiny bar in my neck of the woods. It was great to go out. It was great to talk to them. It was great to just experience live music again. And we had a great conversation afterwards. And so, without further ado, here's Acoustic Vendetta. All right, what's up, everybody? It's J Bunny. I am sitting here at the Skylands Craft Beer and Wine Garden in Wantage, New Jersey. Sitting here with the members of Acoustic Vendetta, Marc Rizzo, Anthony DeVizio, and Damian Daniello.
Yeah, that's it.
All righty.
I'm the least known, and you got it right.
I'm not going to lie, Anthony told me your name.
No, I know. Nobody knows who I am. I just show up to like, who's that guy?
I prepped them good. Yeah, that's right.
Full disclosure, Marc, I'm familiar with you as we discussed earlier. I've been following you since Il Nino, and I've known you since you joined 40 Below Summer. Damian, I don't know you.
I'm a father of a 4-year-old, and I'm a teacher. That's all you got to.
Okay,
well, nobody knows who I am.
That's fine. That's fine. So, I'm going to ask about, some of the other stuff you guys got going on later. But before we do that, obviously, you guys just played a show with Acoustic Vendetta. How did this come together?
Basically, just it originally started like 4 years, 5 years, 4 years ago, where just me and Damian, we went to school together, played football together, and I just saw videos of him online. Back when we were younger, I'd never heard him play before. He didn't play back then. He picked it up later on, and I just was like, man, it's great. Let's try to do some gigs together. So we just started jamming, doing some videos, putting it up online. Me just accompanying him, jamming, and then Anthony plays with me in my solo project. He does all the drums on my stuff, and so then we, maybe a year later, we invited Anthony in, and we just started playing the bars. It's just a fun bar jam band type of vibe. Play covers and jam, and eventually we'll do some originals.
Okay, alrighty, and. Before the show, I looked you guys up online, and everything, looked to be, cover songs. How do you guys decide what you're going to play? Like, what songs? How do you decide what you're going to choose to play?
That was the funny thing. When he approached me about this project, I was like, "You sure you want to do this project with me?" Because I like different music than he does. He's definitely more into metal. So I was waiting for him to say "Let's do some covers of Slayer and all that stuff." And then when he started throwing out Bon Jovi and stuff, I thought he was kidding at first. And then we started jamming, and we just made it work. So that's. He pretty much picked a lot of the songs that I didn't think that we were going to be doing.
Okay.
And that's how it got. And then Anthony joined in, and he started throwing out some songs, and that's where we are at now.
So while each of us kind of leans towards a certain genre, maybe or two in preference, we're not pigeonholed to that anyway. We all like a wide variety across the board, and coincidentally, I'm still a little shocked and surprised every gig about just the wide range of people that are still rocking out to all the 90s stuff and a lot of the stuff that was when we were coming up that was big. It still dominates a lot of the set list on many bands playing the bars now.
Right. Now, Marc, you said you guys might be doing some original stuff eventually?
Yeah, we got some ideas we recorded. It's just a matter of getting together and finishing our CD. We're all super busy, but we're working on it. We're going to try to put out an original record. Originals.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to see that. Now, I noticed covering mostly stuff from the 90s and that. Has there ever been any consideration to do any of the, you've been in Il Nino and Soulfly and you're in 40 Below. Has there ever been any consideration to do songs from the bands that you're in, or you guys kind of try to shy away from that?
Maybe if we could make it work, because it's definitely an acoustic vibe, what we're doing. We're going for an acoustic rock vibe, just percussion. We're not looking to turn it into a band or something. And, so it's more of that kind of just, Anthony on the djembe, me on electric guitar or acoustic, and Damian acoustic. So that's the vibe. It's jam band type of, sit around the fire, jam acoustic.
It's Acoustic Vendetta!
There we go.
See, it's all over the place.
That's right. We always get our friends out to the show.
We had a song, Marc, you wanted to do that one song from Soulfly we were going to try to do, right?
There's one mellow Soulfly song that I don't normally play live with Soulfly. It's called Wings. And we may do that. It's like it's a mellow kind of jazzy jam. So we'll probably throw that in at some point.
And it looks like, at least for the time being, all of the shows that you guys have coming up are all in New Jersey. You guys are all from New Jersey, so it makes sense. Do you guys ever take this on the road, or is this just something you do here in Jersey on your spare time kind of a thing?
Yeah, it's not really meant for now to go on the road because Damian's got a real job, and so does Anthony here. I'm the one that doesn't. And maybe one day we'll do a fly-in date somewhere, if it makes sense. But for now, the whole idea behind Acoustic Vendetta was for it to just be like a Jersey, tri-state area, New York City, and actually as we move along, specifically up here in Sussex County, people up here really appreciate music like we're doing. So we gig up here a lot.
Yeah, I'm from here. I was telling Ant I live 20 minutes away.
Yeah, me too.
I live an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, but when you're into the rock vibe and everything, yeah, definitely it's the place to be as far as playing, what we like to play. And I mean, also I'll add to what Marc was saying, where I think, at least in my mind too, it's part of the allure to this for us is keeping it simple.
Yeah.
Not lugging 10,000 pounds of gear, not being on the road or driving, 4, 5, 6, 14 hours literally, to a show. Not that we don't enjoy what we do, but this even puts more of the fun back into it because it takes more of the work out of it.
Right. Okay. And so, Damian, you said that you don't really have anything musical other than this going on?
I started playing, like Marc was saying, I started late, so he had no idea that I played. So I started when I was like 19, and I've known him since we were little kids. I know he started in like second grade, so I knew like when he approached me to play, I was like, really? You want to jam me? Because like I don't have that many years behind me, but I was in a bunch of bands over the years, but mostly original bands, and when he approached me with this, I was like, all right, cool, man, let's figure out what we want to do. When he started throwing out some songs, it was perfect timing for me because I wasn't doing anything with any other bands, any other musicians, so it just worked out. And when he came home from tour with Soulfly, we just had some time to do it, so we did like 2 or 3 shows, and he'd go back out on tour. When he come back, we'd do 2 or 3 shows, he'd go back on tour, and that was basically what the project was. And Anthony joined, and now we're at a point where if he goes out and Marc goes out on tour, Anthony and I will go play. We just did that for the first time last week. But no, I have nothing else. No other bands. It's just this is great. I mean, I'm glad that he reached out to me because, like I said, I've known him for a long time. I know that he's been a musician for a long time. So I'm just grateful that he actually reached out to me to jam with him, and meeting Anthony was just great. It was an awesome time.
And you heard Damian's voice too, so it'd be a shame if he wasn't doing something.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thanks.
And then
Anthony before.
And then, Ann, obviously, I've known you since you joined 40 Below Summer back in 2012.
Yep, September 12th.
But I don't know anything about. I mean, I knew that you played with Marc, but other than that, I don't know about your sort of journey in music prior to joining 40. Mm-hmm. So, can you tell me a bit about about where you were before and what you did before you joined 40 Below Summer?
Yep, been playing drums 29 years. Started when I was 11. In school. So I'm 40 now, obviously.
40,
man, jeez. Yeah, so I started when I was 11, a few school lessons, nobody really pushed me towards it. I kind of went to my parents and said, hey, look, I think I want to play drums. I remember playing around at my friend's house. His brother had a snare drum. I'd mess around on it. I had a little bit of aptitude for it, just out of the box, I guess, and it spoke to me. So I asked, and started taking lessons in school. That lasted a couple of years, and I switched to private lessons, and working my way up, I got into my, a couple of original bands in high school, and I started playing with a buddy of mine from the neighborhood and another friend from school. We got into a band with it was like my friend's cousin's boyfriend or something. He was a bunch older than us. Right. And we started playing, in New York City when I was 17, as soon as I could drive in. And then that turned into a cover band. I played the cover band scene pretty steady, not full time, because I had school and I had a job, but all the weekends and whatnot since '99, all the way up through mid 2005, 6. Went back to the original scene for a little bit and bounced back and forth, and then joined 40 in 2012. So there's kind of a big gap in there, but yeah, it was a long road, and I done a bunch of different things along the way, but that's where it came from, man.
Okay. And then Marc, as we mentioned, I've been following you since you were in Il Nino in 2002. You've gone on to play with Max Cavalera in Soulfly and Cavalera Conspiracy. You played with the Misfits. You have some solo stuff, and that's just some highlights from your career. Can you tell me a bit about just your journey in music?
Yeah,
it's been the best of times. It's been the worst of times. During the COVID times, it's been horrible.
Right.
But I'm just starting to get back out there now, doing my solo stuff, where I'm traveling around the country. I just got back from 2 weeks in Texas. I did last weekend in Florida. I was in Montana for a week, so I'm hitting all the states doing my solo project, which is instrumental guitar music.
Right.
And just hitting all the states that are open. So wherever's open, I'm going. because it's just me by myself traveling. I play with like a backing track, and so I'm able to afford to make it happen. And as far as Soulfly, I don't know when they're going to hit the road or what the plan is, so I'm just happy to be doing my thing. And then now that the weather is getting nicer and Jersey's starting to open up, we're doing Acoustic Vendetta.
Yeah, I mentioned to you some of the times I'd seen you. I saw you with the, El Nino. You guys did a meet and greet, Vintage Vinyl, and saw you guys on the Ozfest. I saw Cavalera Conspiracy play Poughkeepsie. I want to say that was 2011-ish. And I completely forgot that I saw Soulfly, and I still can't believe that this show got booked. I saw Soulfly play Dingbass, and I was afraid I was going to die how packed that fucking place was. That was insane.
That was, yeah.
I was like, is there not a slightly bigger venue?
Yeah, that was the first time we ever played Dingbats with Soulfly.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, that was crazy. You recently rejoined El Nino for a one-off. They did an online performance, and they brought back a bunch of the previous members for their American Revolution live stream. How did that come together? That whole thing of inviting the past members back?
Just basically, me and a couple of guys, we just kind of ran into each other. So it was a long time, we hadn't seen each other, and just started talking. And they got a new singer now, and,
right?
It just naturally happened, and so we did this live feed, playing like 4 songs off the very first El Nino record from like 20 years ago, and it was cool. I think the fans really dug it, and it was for the fans.
Yeah, I paid for it. I watched it. So how did that compare playing with the new lineup versus the different singer, a couple different members since when you were in the band?
I think that was the best we ever sounded. It was really tight, and it was fun. It was cool.
I gotta say, I really dig, Marcos, their new singer in the band Shattered Sun. I love that fucking
I toured
band.
with Shattered Sun. I've known Marcos for a long time, and he's incredible. He's one of the best singers in metal right now.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can talk to him on this show sometime. Nice. Like I said, love that fucking band. Saw them. I think the last time I saw them was either at Starland or at the Mayhem Fest.
Okay. Yeah.
So, speaking of live streams, how do you guys feel about how, in the last year with COVID and everything, how the entertainment industry has adjusted to not being able to have live performances by doing live streams? Because I know that, like, some artists that I've talked to on the show, they're like, yeah, it's a good idea, and it's good to fill the gap, and it gives us some sort of an interaction with fans. But then other people have told me, yeah, it's not really for me. I kind of think it sucks. It's not the same as doing a live show. So where do you guys kind of stand on? I mean, obviously that's not going to be a permanent thing, but how do you feel about that filling the gap until things return to normal?
It's better than not doing gigs. I've been doing my live at home gigs. We did one a couple times.
Yeah, we did. We tried it a couple times with the problem is that the technology's not there, so you can't really do anything live without anything being like on a delay.
Yeah.
So we recorded a couple songs live, and we made a video of us performing live, and then we just mixed it together in like a video. But I know he does live stuff like every day. He's always
almost every day. I go online and go live and just play the backing tracks like I would in my solo gigs. So I've been doing it way before COVID. I've been doing it for like 5 years now. Just sitting home, going live and jamming and talking to the fans, and just chilling.
Okay.
And while people are right that you can't get the same vibe, the same energy, from a video or from a live stream that you can from a live show, to Marc's point too, do something as opposed to nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially these days, people forget all too quick. You've got to keep a presence out there. I'm not saying that we've all been exemplary with it, except for Marc. He's on there every day, multiple times a day. He's the man, but it's something as opposed to nothing. Definitely.
Yeah, well, you and I were discussing. You asked me how's the show been going, and it has been a little easier to book podcasts when I can just jump on Skype versus, like I said, having to ask a PR person or whatever to count me into the show or whatever the case may be. It's been a lot easier to do podcasts on Skype these days.
And a funny little tidbit too to go back to musical past. The one thing I forgot in the chronology was I actually got introduced to Marc in 2009.
Okay.
Through Derrick, our mutual friend and our former, bass player in 40 Below. And it was kind of funny because Marc had the scratch tracks done for the Legionnaire record, and he was getting ready to go on tour. I think I met you once or twice, Marc. We talked a little bit. He's like, "Yeah, man, okay, great. Well, I'm going to go away on tour for 2 months, and you just rock out, bro. Go nuts, man. Beat the hell out of the drums, and then I'll catch you when I get back." As the car's pulling away. All right, see you. All right, I'll see you later, man. And then me and D Money took it home in the studio with the drums. That was it. And caught up with Marc when he got back.
All right, so I was going to ask you guys a bit later, but since you brought up Derrick, I wanted to ask you guys if you could share some memories of Derrick friend, former bandmate. He passed away back in November. I personally became aware of Derrick when he joined 40 alongside you in 2012. I'd asked him a few times about being on the podcast, and every time I asked him to be on the show, he always seemed really hesitant. He didn't want to be on by himself. He always said if we're going to do it, he wanted to do it with you and me and him on the show. And it just never materialized. So I was just wondering sort of how you guys met Derrick, and if you could share some memories about him.
I met him, probably when I was still in college. I think I was 20.
Okay.
So I known the dude, I've known him 20 years. I met him, the front man in his band when he was in B-Side Theory. His front man, Gerald, was dating a girl from Verona High School. Was one of my friends who was like in my group per se.
Okay.
And then that's how I got to meet the members of B-Side Theory.
Okay.
When he was, back, like I said, 20 years ago. So that's how I met up with him, and then again it was just mutual friends between me being from Verona, him being over in North Caldwell, Essex Fells crew, and then we ran into each other a little bit over the course of time. Started jamming together. We jammed in a couple of projects earlier on. Mm-hmm. I know he knew Marc, way back in the day too. He was, like I said, he was the commonality between us. Derrick was losing that guy was a hell of a loss to music. I think he had a lot to contribute, and I think that maybe his desire to only go on the podcast with me or with somebody else was because he's I think he was in his own head a lot, mm-hmm. But yet to create with somebody else or to interact with somebody else, you would get it all out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was great. Like you could volley back and forth with that guy all night long.
Right.
I mean, and he's got a ton of solo material that I played drums on a lot of, and his buddy Casper played drums on some stuff too that's just sitting on a hard drive now. Just phenomenal stuff that, I hope will make it out there in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
But yeah, there was a lot of layers to him, man. There was a lot going on.
Yeah. And Marc, how did you meet Derrick?
I met Derrick, I think in 2005. He had a band called Hello Eden that my old band, Committee 13, they played some shows with us around Jersey. So I loved that band. I was a big fan of Hello Eden and Derrick's guitar playing. I always thought he was one of the best guitar players in the scene, Mm-hmm. And I really dug what they were doing, and we became great friends right away. And then I started recording at his studio, and recorded a lot of stuff. Recorded my Legionnaire record there, my Rotation solo record, and tons of other projects. And then I brought him on tour with me with Soulfly. He was my guitar tech for a couple years, and then he also played bass with me and Anthony. So he was a very good friend. It just sucks that he passed.
Yeah.
Sad shit.
Yeah, I was saying the last time I randomly ran into him at Target. That was the last time I saw him, and he was like, "Oh, I moved to Vernon, which is where I live." I was like, "Oh, we got to get together," and then we just never connected.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I'm going to ask you guys now the same question that I ask anybody that's ever on this podcast, which is, how do you feel about the current state of where the music industry is, where fans would rather illegally download or subscribe to Spotify and not buy music, and say, well, bands make all their money at shows anyway, so what do we need to buy the music for?
I mean, at this point, we're years into this. I mean, it is what it is. It sucks, because I remember when people bought CDs, but I think people still, if you go out, if you're playing a show, people still will buy the CD at the show. I think real fans still do that, but obviously it's not like what it used to be years ago.
Right.
It sucks, it's sad that that's what it's come down to, but what are you going to do? You can't change it,
Right.
It is what it is, so you just got to deal with it and just get out there and play live. That's the most important thing now.
Okay, and what about you guys?
Agreed. I mean, I'm personally, viewed as a dinosaur because I still like to have the CD and own something tangible. And like Marc said, I think there still are some people out there of all ages, who like to have it. It's like a collection. It's a collector's item. You want to own something you can hold that's that recorded. As far as everything having gone to streaming and whatnot, I think it's the digital age. I think it's inevitable. I think it has been roped in a bit from what it was. Going back to the early 2000s and the Napster days and all that kind of stuff, I think there's a lot more illegal stuff going on. Obviously, there's, things are getting passed around for free, but I mean, it ain't different than, lending your CD to your buddy, to a degree. Like I said, I don't want to come off like I'm condoning it per se, but I think it's a lot more regulated, at least the Spotify's and the Amazon Musics and whatnot. It's monitored, it's through subscription services, and I mean, with 40 Below, we get the itemization every month from Virtual Label for what streams and what plays there were. If I had a side-by-side comparison with, something that was more traditional CD sales, maybe I'd be angry, but it's just a road we're down at this point in time.
Right. What about you, Damian?
I'll be honest with you, these two guys have the experience with that sort of thing. I've never been at that level where I've been selling anything. I've been in original bands for years and we never really sold anything, so it never really impacted me as much. but just watching how, you know, the whole thing of music has changed, I can totally understand where if you're a musician that makes your money by selling your music, you know, through CDs and stuff like that, it totally takes a huge hit. But again, for someone like me, it doesn't affect me because I have nothing out there.
Yeah.
You know, but but I'm also old school where I will buy the CD.
Yeah.
I like looking at the, you know, the folding. You know, I like looking at the lyrics. I like looking at all that stuff. That's just how I've always been. Even when I used to buy cassettes, I used to always love to buy the cassettes to see the lyrics and see who other bands that these bands liked, and that's how I would learn. You know, one band I used to love to listen to, Life of Agony, but I used to look at like bands that they supported, and that's how I got into Typo Negative, and that's how I got into all that stuff by seeing that sort of thing. So I think people lose that when they just download one or two songs. They don't really get to see what the band's about and if there's a scene or anything like that. So I mean, for my point of view, I really believe that the way it's changed so much. Thank you. The way it's changed so much for musicians that make their living off of doing that, it's definitely has affected them in a negative way, which is it just sucks because I feel like there's so much more that music can give to people if they just kind of took their time to listen to it. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I personally like to buy CDs myself. I know that, you know, 40 Below, the last album you guys put out, you did that Kickstarter. I did the Kickstarter. My name is in the CD. Mm-hmm. Love that shit. Always do the, you know, I always, whenever a CD comes out, I always try and buy. I'm not much of a vinyl guy, and there's a lot of vinyl coming out these days. But whatever the fucking like super deluxe package is, I'll always buy that. You know,
we appreciate it.
The band Ailstorm, they got a new live record coming out at the end of the month that I bought off of Napalm Records website, and it was fucking. You know, comes in a box with a banner and a this and a that, and you know, I love all the extras too.
I think this generation doesn't understand that. They just get things that they want, one song, two songs. They don't get the whole album. You gotta sit through the whole thing, and there's some songs you may not like on the album, but you still listen to it because it's the band you like. You know, it's just different. You know. So.
All right, so the only other thing that I want to ask you guys is, you know, what is next for all your projects? Marc, I know you said you're touring your solo stuff. You're not really sure what when Soulfly will reconvene. I mean, it seems like with vaccines out there and the world is seemingly starting to open back up, I would hope that things are going to start moving sooner than later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm out there touring, doing my solo stuff. So I'm next week I'm headed out to the Midwest, and then out to Iowa, and then I go back down to Texas. So I'm just in and out over the next couple months doing my solo project, going to the states that are open and traveling. It's just me by myself, so it's you know, as safe as you're going to be. It's not like being on a bus with 10 people.
Right.
And then in between my tours, I play with this, you know, back here at home. And I know we got a lot of shows coming up. You know, when I make them, I make them. When I can't, then these guys go out and do the set without me. So.
Okay. And then Anthony, what about you know, you and 40 Below? I know that, you know, you guys are sort of in between bass players at the moment. You haven't put out an album in a couple of years. What's the latest with 40 Below Summer?
Before I get to 40 Below, what's going on with the acoustic tracks I played percussion on for you, Rizzo?
For my new solo record. Yeah, we're trying to get that done. I got my new solo record. That's I got to get that out. Yeah, it's like, you know, with the whole COVID thing, we've been recording nonstop at home and doing tons of recordings. Now I got to get on top of getting this stuff all out.
Okay,
so,
it was on topic. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, sure, absolutely, absolutely.
I was you piqued you jogged my memory. Like, wait, whatever happened with that?
So my new solo record will be out soon, hopefully. You know.
Okay, all right.
And Acoustic Vendetta.
Yep, I did some djembe and other percussion tracks for him for the few tunes he's got coming out.
All right.
40 Below, we are bass playerless. Tom McNamara, I went on to do, you know, some other things, and I think he's still doing a lot. That guy's you know, maniac with with promotion and merch and everything.
Putting all sorts of covers on Instagram lately.
Yeah, no, dude knows how to promote, man, absolutely, and he knows how to play. That's for sure. So we are bass playerless, and we have an entire new record worth of material written. We are finalizing some demos, and we're just trying to get the logistics in line and figure out how we're going to both fund and, you know, find the resources and the people to get this record recorded. We wanted to have it out, you know, preferably, you know, in the summertime. That's not looking like it's going to go that route. We'll play it by ear and see if it makes more sense, you know, as we spoke about, too, the way that the scene's going, the way the industry's going, if we put out some singles or just try and throw the whole thing out at once.
Right.
You know, that remains to be seen. We really got to do some figuring.
So it's coming out before the summer, Below the Summer?
Below the summer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Below the summer.
Yeah, it's good. It's coming. It's probably coming out after the summer at this rate.
Well, you know, if you guys ever do another crowdfund, I'll definitely do that. And when and not to, you know, blast you on the show, not blast, but I still got to collect on that live show you guys owe me from the last one.
Absolutely, no, believe me. I mention that to the guys all the time. I'm like, dudes, I'm not doing another crowdfund, and they agree too. Obviously, they're like, you know, yeah, we gotta. It's you. I think you might be the only one who's left, believe it or not, or maybe one other person. But that's why we'll probably take a little bit different approach this time. I mean, like it was good. It was very good. It was productive. It served its purpose. But man, all the hours we had trying to pack all the orders by hand ourselves and then track it and customer service type of stuff. Because remember, we had stuff shipping out to Guam, the Philippines. I mean, like all over. Places where I don't even know how to write the address correctly on the envelope. I'm like, you know, I'm saying a prayer and throwing it in the mail, you know. But so we might like, you know, get the online store set up and do a merch blast or something like that, something similar.
Yeah.
And with maybe some elements of what we did last time, but we got to try and take the pressure off, because we don't have the time to pack, you know, all hundreds and hundreds of envelopes and packages, and it's nutty.
Yeah, well, whenever it makes sense to do so, I can't wait to do that private show thing. That was a cool perk you guys included.
You are not forgotten, and we got the list, believe me.
Oh yeah, no, I know how to get in touch with you.
Yeah, exactly. You're easy, man. We had dudes in the Midwest who were like, nah, I don't even have any time. Forget it. Don't worry about it, bro. I'm like, okay.
Oh wow. All right, well, that's all I've got for you guys today. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for the show. The show was fucking fantastic.
Thanks.
And you know, I hope that I can. I see that, you know, like Marc was saying, you guys are doing a bunch in Sussex County in this area. You know, Ant, I was telling you before, I might need to have another back surgery, so I don't know how available I'm going to be to go to shows. But if I am not fucking crippled and bedridden, I'll be there.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks guys.
for taking the time.
All right, later.
Shallow breath from a heart attack.
And that was Acoustic Vendetta with their first original track, 1,000 Chances. I want to thank Anthony, Damian, and Marc for being on the show. If you want to follow them on social media to keep up with their upcoming shows and the pending release of their album of original material, you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Acoustic Vendetta. You can also follow J Bunny's Music Hub on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Patreon. Just search for J Bunny's Music Hub. Also, don't forget the other bands that Marc and Anthony are involved in. You can follow 40 Below Summer on social media. You can also follow Soulfly, Cavalera Conspiracy. Marc has his own Facebook page. Just search those names and you're going to find the right stuff. Also, don't forget, if you believe in supporting music like I do by buying it, you can also follow Industry Embers at Industry Embers on Facebook and Twitter, and post or tweet your music purchases with the hashtag BuyMusic, B-U-Y, or it's BuyMusic, B-Y-E. As for what is next for the show, I have a couple of episodes that should be being recorded at the end of this month, so within the next couple weeks. As I mentioned near the tail end of the interview, I am going to need back surgery for the second time in my life. First one was 10 years ago. Going into the doctor tomorrow, which as of the recording of this outro is Wednesday the 12th of May. I'm going in to get the specifics about the surgery. That may impede the ability to do the podcast a bit. Last time that I had a back surgery, I was pretty bedridden for a few months, and so we'll have to see what the recovery is going to be like. But yeah, that may sort of get in the way here. But like I told you guys, like I always tell you guys, I'm going to keep the show going. It's going to happen as it happens and in its own time. And if I got to take a bit of a break because I can't fucking move, well, then that's what's going to happen, unfortunately. But I'll keep you posted. Keep an eye on those social media channels for any updates regarding all of that. Now, I'm going to leave you guys today with a song by 40 Below Summer, which, again, Anthony is the drummer of. This is from their album Transmission Infrared. This is Recidivist History. Until next time, guys.
I Get your eyes off the screen. Fuck you is the one I'm being.